Hello everyone, my name is Emery. I hate the fact when critics go out their way, and look, obviously it's their job, right? But they just tell you like, hey, this movie's bad. You don't have to watch it, don't waste your time. This is your rating. You don't have to even like try to go watch this movie. I say go out your way, and I was really one of those people right back then, but I realized that I still need to take a chance, that I still need to go out my way and say, hey, let me watch this movie on my own and I'll decide whether it's good or not, right? And obviously everybody has a different opinion and you are absolutely entitled to your own opinion. I obviously can't hold you against it, but if the movie is actually good, then I do feel like I should go out my way to watch that movie, to basically pay my respects by watching some great work. Because these people have worked really hard on a movie. They care about it or they wouldn't have done it at all. So I came up with the idea to do a breakdown on the movies that I really enjoyed, on the movies where I feel like this wasn't a bad movie, I really enjoyed this, I really had fun. And if you're gonna kind of realize what kind of guy I am when it comes to watching movies, and when you truly like, I'm really into like, okay, how much fun is this movie? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, as long as it's great or good enough to the point where I enjoyed myself. So this is my breakdown to the Hellboy movie of 2019. So the movie immediately starts with Hellboy and his father connecting with each other, showcasing their relationship, and the banter between them is magnificent. I mean, they are so funny and they are so entertaining that you can't help just listen to their conversation. You can't help just laugh. There's a scene where Hellboy goes to Mexico and the father is just telling him, you're wasting your time, don't try to get your friend back. Everybody that goes to this particular place in Mexico never come back, they never make it. It's kind of a suicide mission. But Hellboy being Hellboy, he thinks he can take it. He's like, it'll be fine, he's just a friend of mine, I'm gonna be able to convince him to come back. And there's where he's absolutely wrong, and you're gonna see why in a sec. And there's a part in the car with him and his phone. If you see that part, man, you'll fall laughing. Like, it's so funny, and it's a reoccurring joke in the movie, and it's absolutely worth it. Like, it's not one of those jokes where it keeps happening and it keeps happening and then it gets boring and you're like, stop this right now, this is stupid. Why are you continuously doing that? No, that's not the case at all. So jump to his friend, a BRPD agent called Luis Esteban. They're in a wrestling ring and Esteban is just beating the crap out of every wrestler, every luchador that steps into the ring with him. And Hellboy's just watching, he's absolutely enjoying this, but he's like covered up in a hoodie, thinking that nobody's gonna see him. Like, come on, like, you're like a 6'5" big red monster, devilish looking like creature, like El Diablo looking creature, and you think nobody's gonna notice you. And out of all people who notice him, Esteban just done beating somebody up, and he picks up the mic and in Spanish, like, we have a celebrity with us this evening, the world's greatest paranormal investigator, Hellboy. And right at that moment, Hellboy is just tiptoeing away. He's just tiptoeing away, thinking that this is just gonna be it, nobody's gonna notice, that he'll be absolutely fine. And right there, they switch the big light to him. He awkwardly but hilariously stops, and then he says, and then he chuckles. It's so funny, it's so good. There's a part where he's fighting in the ring, and he gets his butt handed to him. He's just crapping all over Esteban's music because they're playing music while he's fighting in the ring. The effects for the creatures look phenomenal. There is truly diversity regarding the cast. Every voiceover for the creatures is magnificent. The story is great. In no parts of the movie is the movie making you feel like you're wasting your time. It's emotional. You're seeing everything, what they've gone through, their backstory, how hellacious their world is, and how they've jumped from world to world, from being a human into turning into a monster or any supernatural creature. How hard it is for them to cope with all that, and that they've been going through these things some at childhood, some at being on the force. They have an honor wall with BRP agents list on it, plus engraved on the wall that have passed away. And you can truly see a sad look on Hellboy's face when he passes by. I love that there are relationships between Broom, Hellboy, Ben, Deimos, and Alice. You can especially see the love between Hellboy and his father. The editing and the lighting are great in the movie. The camera angles are awesome, and I love when movies can truly showcase that. I love when movies do that, especially when it's a one shot. You know those one shots in those John Wick movies? I love that so much. And you can see that the writers ran out of their way to truly sprinkle in some realism in their sci-fi movie, and that's something that I truly appreciate. The movie is self-aware. They're not overly serious. They're having fun. You can see the actors are having so much fun in this movie. There are a lot of badass moments in the movie. A good amount of the movie is just another day at the office of like being badass and doing cool stuff and just kicking butt everywhere. I love that that's the case. The characters get great lines, especially Alice, Ben, Deimos, Broom, basically everyone. There's even a Baba Yaga in this. He gets to fight a Baba Yaga in this, and that was awesome. There's a sorceress witch basically called Vivian Nimue. Even with her, you can see them delving in her past, into her backstory, and you really enjoy that when you see that. There's a British cult in this movie that Hellboy finds absolutely hilarious and absolutely ridiculous. That's just his human side coming in, because he's like, a British cult that fights monsters, and he's like, what? That's ridiculous. And that's so funny in the movie, because it's like he instantly forgets that he's not a human being, that he's actually a Hellboy, and I love that part of him. And you can see that David Harbour is sprinkling in a little bit of himself in there, and this is one of the reasons why we love him in Stranger Things. The movie doesn't go out its way to tell you why you should see that the characters are important. Like, the characters will show you why they are truly important. Like, they will go out their way to truly show you why they're important, what they bring to the table, and who they are as human beings and even creatures, and what they actually stand for. Hellboy is truly relatable when it comes to humor, when it comes to being smart, having great lines in the movies as any other character has in a movie. You get ambushed multiple times to the point where you never see any of them coming. Like, the movie keeps you focused on one part of it. It brings you to the point where you're remembering certain elements of a movie, but you forget them for a sec because you're so focused, you're so hooked by this part of the movie that when this one shows, you're like, oh, whoa, I did not see that coming. The movie establishes from the start, from the first act, how much of a badass king Hellboy really is. There's a scene between Alice and Hellboy, a really intense scene that I really like. They're in the kitchen, she's like cooking something for him, she burns everything. You can see that she's not a cook at all. She has this unique ability that she got it because of somebody else's basically backstory, and where Hellboy is also a part of it. And I love how the backstories interact with each other, and it's not just, oh, this is one backstory here and this is one backstory here and there's another one on the other side. No, they're interconnecting with each other, and I really appreciate that. It's different. You don't see that a lot in movies, and when a movie does that, I really appreciate it. So this scene that I'm talking about, she basically has a Glock, and it just scares the living crap out of Hellboy to the point where he gulps in one of the scenes. Like, it's so funny. That part, it's so much worth your time. You're gonna remember that, and that's something that you're genuinely gonna quote. I'm not gonna give the line away, but it was great. At the end of that scene, she tells him to come under the table, and Hellboy asks her what they're doing under the table. She says that they're avoiding the glass. That part was such a good line. It's not necessarily a great line by any stretch, but it was a good line. Police bust in, Hellboy starts kicking ass left, right, and center. Like, it's so good. Right there when the police bust in, there's a scene between Hellboy and Broom where Hellboy is like, Dad? It's so good. That's another part where you truly get to see the connection between him and his dad, and how funny they are together, how they argue with each other. what the banter pretty much looks like. Then we introduced Ben Deimos. He's M11. He's a BRPD agent, and he's really great at his job. He's the Mr. No Funny Business guy. He comes in. He's not a fan of monsters whatsoever, and there's a great reason why that's the case, and you're gonna see that. Right when Ben comes in, he starts interacting with Hellboy. That goes great, and they're so good at roasting each other, like it's so funny. There's an instant connection between Ben and Alice when they first meet, where she hands him a piece of paper. I'm not gonna like go deep into it, but when you see it, it's so good. It's so good. It's such a thing that like, it's really something that a teen would do, and you're like, oh yep, that's what I would have done at that age. Her personality is fantastic. You really fall in love with her immediately, like when she has her scene with Hellboy, regarding her unique ability, how much of a badass she is, the connection she has with Ben Deimos. There's a part where Hellboy opens a case with a Glock in it as a gift from his father. I adore the fact of how truly useful these characters are, and they don't feel like an afterthought at all. The gore in this movie looks awesome. I look forward to Glock shots in slow-mo. That's always one of my things where like, it's always one of the coolest things when you can see a shot in slow-mo. One thing that I always find taboo about a movie is when it's like, this is it, done. We're not gonna come super explain something to you. Like, if you don't understand, then you're just stupid. Like, I'm not gonna come like super explain this part to you. If you don't understand it, I don't get it, then that's on you, right? I love it when a movie does that, because it gives you time as a fan, as a viewer, think for yourself instead of, okay, the movie is treating you like a baby, they need to explain everything to you. I think there's a Star Wars reference in the movie with a changeling. And I think that's a Star Wars reference. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe like changelings always existed in other franchises and I just don't know about it, but I don't know. It seems like that's the case. When we jump into Alice's backstory, there's a motherly and fatherly bond with the baby where they realize it isn't theirs. Only if you as a father or a mother have that bond with your baby, then you realize that as mother and father. So there's basically something that happens with Alice.
Release the baby!
If you don't have the mother and fatherly bond to your kid, you won't realize that that is your kid. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but you're gonna see. When there's tension in the movie, the humor cuts the tension, and that's not always the case. You know, you don't wanna like keep repeating yourself or make sure that thing is repetitive, but at times where it needs to be, it is. Hellboy is such a comedic badass that the other ancient creatures are scared of him, and the topic or word baby is really important.
Release!
There's a great reason why Alice and Hellboy truly have a connection, because you can't avoid the fact that life or destiny brings things back full circle. So you rather embrace that fact instead of ignore it completely. And if you're fast enough to see it, you'll realize why Alice did what she did regarding what she said with Four Men. This is not the only thing that comes back full circle. There's full circle in the sense of revenge, you know, of vengeance. And that's not only with the witch's character, but also with somebody else, and that you'll see, or something else. What's so important about one of the monsters, his backstory, is that the reason why he's doing this or that thing is simply because Hellboy took something from him. Something that Hellboy has been looking for like his whole life. And you basically feel for this creature in a way, you know, not to like a ridiculous extent, because at the end of the day it's not a human, but you feel for that creature regardless. In a way, there's some symbolism there because you can relate, because he's basically a reject, just like Hellboy basically is. There's a lot of people that don't accept him, and in a way he kind of doesn't really accept himself. He feels like he needs to be with his kind and not with humankind. But what he also doesn't really realize is that he's so much human now, in a way that he's truly, like, it's so ingrained in him now that he's truly become one of us. And that's kind of nice to see. The Blood Queen has some great lines in this movie, but you really need to pay attention to what she says, especially with her low-key burn to her servant, and you're gonna realize soon enough who her servant is. Because a lot of the times when we see characters like that, which we have seen before in other movies, we tend to not really pay attention to what they say, and that's why they don't come over as vicious or threatening. There's also a good point in the movie when the servant fights Hellboy and he tells the queen that he's not ready yet because he knows he can't take him now. He'll need more than that to really take him on. Spoken of Hellboy getting a gift from his father, what I also need to add in is that there's a joke there and it's absolutely worth your time. There's a great line between Miss Harker and Hellboy, and if you're really not focused or if you're really tired when you go to see this movie, you are absolutely not going to get it whatsoever. But if you focus on it, like right when Hellboy comes in and then she says something and then he's like, what? Seriously? When you see that part, it's so funny. Like, it's absolutely worth your time. Check it out. It's one of those lines where you're definitely gonna quote and wouldn't be surprised if you saw it in another movie. There's an intense scene between Broom, Hellboy, and Alice, and Hellboy is truly showcasing this feeling of blame that he actually puts on his father, and maybe also a little bit on himself. And on the one hand, I see where he's coming from. That is also a part that really makes this movie even better and truly showcases the emotion in this film. I love how ridiculous this movie can be, especially when Hellboy is the one being ridiculous. Ray is basically having an argument with a lift. Whenever the lift doesn't do what Hellboy wants the lift to do or what the lift should do in the first place, it just keeps pressing it and pressing it. The AI on the lift goes going up and he thinks, okay, we're going up now at this moment. That's exactly what I pressed, right? And then all of a sudden, a few moments later, the lift is just going down and he's pushing the other button right under the first one and he thinks that's gonna make him go up again, and it keeps going down and down and down and down, and from that moment on it goes on and on and on, and he's screaming, I pressed up, I pressed up. Jumping deep into Ben Damas's backstory, you truly see why he hates monsters. It's so important to his backstory. It makes you care for him more because you can see that he cares for his fellow human beings and he completely regrets what he has done. And you will see what he is a mixture of. Nimue, there's a scene where she throws something at Alice and then it hits her right there and she falls down, and you're thinking like, okay, maybe it knocked her out, and then they start pulling out what's really in her. That was insane. That's something that makes you go, what the? It's really one of those jaw-dropping scenes. Nimue is such a temptress. She's just feeding off Hellboy's guilt, the rest of his emotions, and taking everything what he has, destroying his world, literally and figuratively. She really starts working on the psychological part and mental part of Hellboy's psyche, and there's a reason why she doesn't take over completely, because as a queen, she needs a king. She needs a king to rule all worlds with. That's why she needs Hellboy. One of my favorite things to see is when we go like old school and we go back into the world of monsters that we're used to seeing. Monsters like, or is it a monster? Yeah, something like that. I don't know necessarily what the Baba Yaga is, but it's basically like that zombie creature. Basically not zombie, but like, how should I say it? That's kind of what it looks like, but we get the idea. The Baba Yaga is usually a short, like chubby, I think it's Russian? I'm not sure, but like, you get to see the Baba Yaga. Like, it's awesome to see Hellboy fight the Baba Yaga. The body contouring is also a little bit like, when like somebody contorts their body, it's always disgusting to me. I apologize for the background noise. As I said, I don't live alone. There are people here, so they're gonna make some noise. And I can't really stop that. So bear with me, and again, apologies. There's also an organization that's similar to the Osiris Club. They have a Poseidon-like tattoo, like an emblem. It's on their arm. And that same club or same organization was keeping a creature captive, and it turns out it's Sapien from the other Hellboy movies. You know, the other Hellboy movies that you watch, the ones that we love so much that Guillermo del Toro did. So as I said, this movie is funny, exciting, fun, understanding. The end credit scene is a little bit sad. It's also touching, and there's another part that's funny. I don't want to give it away, but at that point Hellboy is grieving and he meets somebody that he sees as a role model, and he starts fanboying all over this person. It's fantastic, which brings this movie to a great closing ending. So what I've realized watching this movie is that this movie is about relating, about understanding, about accepting who you are as whether a person or a monster or whatever, just being happy with you. And I love when movies do that. So this movie is absolutely worth your time. Go check it out. Don't listen to what some critic has said. Just go out your way to watch this movie. You'll truly enjoy it. And if it's not worth your time, I guess come back and tell me in the comment section. If there are other movies that you feel like I should be watching, you feel like I should do a breakdown on it, that's something that I really want to do. So if there's a movie that you've seen before that you really enjoy, that you feel like they haven't given it the respect that it deserves, tell me about it in the comment section. I would love to see it. I would love to check it out, and I'll give my opinion on that movie. You might not agree, it might absolutely piss you off, but at least I watched it. At least I got something out of it, because I believe that out of every movie you can get something out of it, even if the movie's not great, you know. But in this case, this one's great, or I wouldn't be doing a breakdown about it. So tell me in the comment section, and I'd love to check it out. And maybe there are other stuff that you want to tell me about in the comment section regarding this movie that maybe you've already seen and thought that was really fun. Great, I'd love to hear about it. I'm gonna be in the comment section for the first hour of this video, so put your suggestions in the comment section below. See you until the next breakdown. I'll be coming up with more stuff eventually or soon. Ciao.